Welcome to the B-Scar TV podcast, the home of high-quality conversation.
And we're back with another episode of B-Scar TV, and I have two very, very special guests today. The first, DJ Reader, my guy, a.k.a. Grave Dave, a.k.a. Deej from Beej and Deej. What's up, Deej?
What's up, man? Hey, big dog. Dog out of commission right now, but I'm here.
We're here. We're here. We're fighting. I also have with me today the man himself, Jake Browning, a.k.a. Jake, a.k.a. JB.
Jake the Snake.
I mean,
Jake the Snake.
There's a lot of nicknames getting thrown around.
Big Jake show guy, man. Big Jake show guy. I love it.
That was Cheeto's thing.
I've been watching the Jake show for a minute, though, so I've been seeing it.
The Jake Show, has that been a nickname?
Yeah, our corner, Cheeto, would always kind of say that just from scout team.
Yeah.
I'd get in
Show.
for like 2 plays. Every 8 plays of scout team, I'd have like 2, so I'm not handing the ball off on RPOs. I'm not checking down. I'm launching it.
Taking the shot.
I'm taking a shot.
Taking the shot.
I'm not leaving any bullets in the holster. I'm letting that rip.
For sure.
So that always that turned into something Cheeto would say. So I think it kind of stuck.
The Jake Show. The fucking Jake Show. I
good.
like that. I like that.
It was the best in preseason because I'm like, oh, Jake gonna take chances. Like I'm like, hell yeah. When like preseason, he's out there. I'm like, we know it's about to happen. We got a chance because he's gonna take some shots. Like we like.
Was that pouring over? Was that spilling over into preseason?
I mean, I think for me, it's like I came in this league undrafted. I've been on practice squads for a long time. Like I was kind of feeling like I don't really have anything to lose here, so let's just let it rip. And I'm never gonna stop being aggressive. And preseason or regular season, whenever it is, like once you get a quarterback that's not being aggressive, it becomes significantly easier to defend. So
100%.
you just can never lose your fastball. You got to have it.
That's right. I feel that. Before we really dive in here, DJ and I, we go way back. We played with the Texans together. We were in the same rookie class. And early on in our relationship, we had a little bit of conflict. North Carolina guy, Portland, Oregon guy, grew up on the West Coast. And so our vocabularies are a little different. And so I would like to just put some things on the table just to get your thoughts. Number one, these hats that the two of us are wearing.
Yeah.
Beanies or toboggans?
Beanies. I've never even heard toboggans.
It's a toboggan.
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't even know you guys wear these down in South Carolina, right?
I'm from North Carolina.
North Carolina.
It's a Carolina thing. We all say toboggan. Go in the locker room, ask any of the guys from Carolina. I promise you, they're gonna tell you it's a toboggan. So I don't know where it started, how we got there, but that's where we at.
Yeah, it's definitely beanies.
It's beanies.
I'm
Thank
also
you.
from California, so it's
Right. Yeah, we're
West Coast,
riding right here. Book bags or backpacks?
Backpacks.
Backpacks.
Damn, I'm 0 for 2.
0 for 2.
I mean, this isn't fair.
Yeah, but y'all crossing 2 states, so I don't know if people outside of North Carolina call them book bags too. I just know my state. I got to get somebody else to confirm that it's both ways.
We don't know if this is a Southern thing, a North Carolina thing, maybe an East Coast thing. There's some folks. It'd be interesting to see the folks in Cincinnati what they're saying. But cause this last one I've heard all over the place. Basketball hoop or basketball goal?
Hoop.
Hoop makes sense. He's changed me on that one. I don't even know where we got goal from, but we all say basketball goal where I'm from.
Really?
Don't even know
I've
where
never
it
heard that either.
I don't even. I think that's a dumb one. So I try to say hoop now. I've tried to conform and say hoop more.
I got one for you. Do people in Portland say hella and hecka?
Hella.
Yeah, that's like a NorCal thing. So I'm from Sacramento, Northern California. If you go to Southern California, like Orange County, and you say hella, you're getting roasted.
Like, hella.
Like, go back to Northern California.
Yeah.
So then I just double down and say like every other word. Like, I don't want to be from Southern California. I'm from Northern California.
man.
So hella and hecka.
That is crazy.
That's
You
hella
definitely hear
tight.
that, Yeah.
Yep.
That's hella tight.
Damn.
Yep. And then the other Sacramento thing was everybody wears, like instead of a belt, they shoestring it. So they put a shoestring through the belt loop and tie it. That was a
like
big
that.
Sacramento thing.
We like that.
And then gym shorts underneath the pants.
Oh,
Gym
come
shorts
on.
underneath the
Come
pants
on.
are a big thing for a lot of people.
Yeah,
My
I feel like
homeboy
that was
used
a
to-
cultural moment.
My homeboy used to tell me, he's like, you never know when a pickup game's going to break out. That's the dumbest shit. Like, come on, bro. Like,
I felt like the logic was always it was just cooler to wear basketball shirts than underwear. Like underwear wasn't cool.
I'm going to tell you, dude. We talked about this the other day with my jeans, the whole, being a big guy, you find very few jeans that are your size and big enough for you to have basketball shorts on, or,
Fair.
you know what I'm
that's
saying? So I was always an underwear
I would
guy.
never do that now.
Never wore the
But
basketball
like
shorts.
growing up, that was
That
the
was the thing.
shoestring,
And the basketball
shorts underneath the jeans. Yeah.
So-
I didn't know if that was like a NorCal thing or West Coast thing or what.
Nah, people did it. People did.
Yeah.
We didn't do the shoestrings as much unless like at school, if you ever got caught sagging, you immediately was going to get that shoestring. They were gonna put that shoestring so tight on you in the office.
wow.
Oh, bro, it was embarrassing.
punishment.
So you might as well,
The
you might as
shoestring
well
was
wear a
punishment.
belt. Might as well wear a belt, bro. They was gonna go crazy.
The funny thing about Sacramento and the Bay Area is since Portland is just like right north, I feel like all the trends, the slang, the fashion just really came right up the I-5.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we'd see like all the Bay Area, like the gay area, the Thiz movement, like all of that music,
Yep.
E40, and then that
Yeah.
all came right up to Portland.
Yeah, yeah. The Bay Area definitely runs the show for NorCal a little bit, like with all the style and the fashion and all that. But everybody from Sacramento, they're like, oh no, we're Central Valley.
Central-
Like, we're
oh,
not
Central
we're not
Valley.
Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always, I don't know why. It's just
Yeah.
it's one of those things
It's a
where, yeah, if somebody moved to like my hometown from the Bay Area, it's like, oh, they're from the Bay Area, not the Central
Yeah.
Valley. They're not as
Right.
tough or something. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever it is.
It's rough out there in Sacktown.
I mean, it's not rough. It's just
y'all a little calloused out there. There's
a little
certain,
bit. Yeah. You
Yeah.
got the little Central Valley.
There's an edge.
Yeah, because all the I know football, basketball, like all the Bay Area teams, they're the bigger cities, get a little bit more love probably, and so you always have that chip on your shoulder, whether it's Sacramento, Fresno, even I would say even down to like Bakersfield, it's
Stockton,
Yeah,
near
right.
there?
Stockton, Stockton. We played a bunch of Stockton teams.
Yeah.
Now I still grew up in like the suburbs, so it wasn't like it's not like a rough area,
Yeah.
but yeah, you definitely have the chip on your shoulder a little bit, like feeling. I feel like everybody, no matter where they grew up, they're like, man, people don't recruit this area.
Yeah, they just
enough."
kind of
Right,
generalize.
right.
But I'm sure y'all just get generalized in the Bay Area, and there's
Yeah.
just like you said, it's just so much more ball,
Yeah.
and stuff outside that little. I mean, not little, but what you consider the Bay. Like y'all, you know, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? There's a lot more things going on if people really came down there to see more.
Yeah. I think it's
Makes
funny
sense.
too. Like now I live in the Midwest, and so when I say, "Oh, I'm from California," it's immediately like, "Oh, do you surf?" It's like that. It's like, nope. I've never been on a surfboard. I never grew up near the ocean or anything
I
like
was going to
that.
ask, how far are you from the water?
I mean, like there's the beach in San Francisco, so that's like 2 hours without traffic. But you're not going to the
without
beach in San
traffic,
Francisco to like get in the water. It's cold.
Yeah. It's not really surf culture up in Sac, really, like that. I mean,
no.
not-
It's more like
not really
there's
even
more
in the Bay.
lakes, and like
Okay.
Lake Tahoe's right there, so like a lot of people go snowboarding, skiing, and all that.
Yeah, yeah. So, DJ and I, we do our segment called Beach and Deej every week. We'll talk about timely news, events, and if you heard the barking during the intro, DJ always has a dog of the week.
Indeed.
Because DJ, if you don't know, is one of the best scouts of talent that I've ever been around from across sports.
Yeah, DJ quietly knows a lot about like punters.
Yeah,
'Cause I don't
it's
know,
weird, right?
I know nothing about special teams.
Yeah.
Like if somebody said, "Hey, here's the best special teams coach job in the world. We'll pay you all the money in the world," I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
We would play hard and we would have dumb scheme. But he'll always say like, the team we're playing against, they'll have, man, their punter's good. The punter's
He can
real
really
good.
kick that shit.
I'm a big field position guy, bro. So like, I look at the game, it's literally like a game of inches. So field position, those type of things, like I care about, like, and I watch it. So it's been all those years with Leck. We had Shane Leckley who was like, historic punter.
Oh, I know. I grew up a Raider
you know
fan.
what I'm saying? So
we
like,
drafted him so
Lex was
super high.
the man, and like just listen to him talk the game and the way he saw it. I was like, I was in camp my whole rookie year. He's taking bus rides back and forth with us. He's like ripping beers, doing whatever he's doing. But just listen to him talk about the game, being on the sideline, watching him heckle refs and talk about it just more. I was like, damn, it's really important.
It's like a whole nother world.
It's a whole nother world.
Like, I've been in football forever. I know nothing about special teams.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's fascinating to me how DJ like picks up certain things. And so this week, my nomination for Dog of the Week, DJ, is you.
Oh man.
You are the Dog of the Week.
Appreciate
because
that,
on Saturday you had an injury that has cost you the season, and when you're getting carted off, it wasn't a towel over the head. You were on that cart, like pumping up your guys.
My God.
I think Josh, who maybe came in for you, like it was like, come on, let's go, and it was watching the game from the tunnel, and then. I've been staying with you the last couple of days, like to see the positive mind frame that you operate in, it's inspiring, man. And, this is like a moment of true adversity from like, you were playing at an all pro level, Pro Bowl, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then, the figurative bottom, but the way that you just operate through it positively is inspiring to me, man. And I'm just curious, just for me and for the people listening, like how are you able to continue with that positivity, that upbeat nature that, because then just spreads, I feel like probably to the team. Jake, I'm sure you can attest to it, but even just like here with us kicking it in the crib, like we all feel like, everything's going to be okay because you you operate with that.
Well, I mean, honestly, like I kind of look at life as like a glass half full anyway. I've always just kind of been that person. And like I have my negative times, like, when I got back in that tunnel, I'm crying. I'm all blown to shits because I'm like, damn, I just know how hard the other one was. Like rehab was just shitty for the other one, but it just is what it is. And, you don't really have a choice. I look at life as if you start feeding yourself so many negative thoughts, like you're just a dead person walking. Like you keep feeding yourself that many negative thoughts over and over and over and over and over. And then like, y'all are here, my mom's here, everybody, like my support system's here.
Right.
So it's like, how could you be depressed in those moments? The only thing I don't really have is my son, and everything just so positive around, and the team got to win. Everything I could ask for still is in play. So it's like, to be selfish and be worried about me in that moment and be so negative, which it can happen. It's just, it serves me nothing. Like I get nothing out of it. It's just emptiness. And so you go through those beginning emotions, and they're human, but after that part, you kind of like, you realize like this is the work, this is what life requires. And I'm always lived by Luke 12:48, man. To whom much is given, much is required. And so therefore I've been given a lot, I've been blessed in this life. And if these are the little speed bumps that are in the way, then I just got to go over them.
Yeah. And I always remember something that stuck with me that you shared is that it beats the alternative.
Yeah, it beats the alternative.
It beats the
Like,
alternative.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it beats the alternative, bro.
Yeah.
And then I remember you were like, what's the alternative? I was like, you could be dead. And then it's all like, it's all whatever. Like, so, I mean, whatever, man. It is what it is. I'm living, breathing. I'll get through this shit and be better because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's right. That's right.
It's cool to hear that too, because that's everyday DJ, not just we got a mic and cameras and all that. Like, there's the positivity every day, and if I can get on my DJ soapbox, like how you said he knows football. Like if you know football and you really watch it, and like I don't even have as much of a like understanding of what goes on O-line, D-line, and what those battles are like. But if you really know O-line and D-line play, if you ask Ted Karras, like this guy's one of the best in the league. And if nose guards, interior defensive linemen were talked about like quarterbacks, like everybody would know that. And
Right.
there's no debate, like one of the best in the league. And then on top of that, like I'm somebody that I came in when Joe got hurt.
Right.
And then I remember after that game, he had his final press conference, and he just had like that vow of confidence in me, like it's going to go well. Jake's worked really hard. He's a really good player, blah, blah, blah. And so you have DJ go down. he's hyping up Josh, Zach, and later in the game we got a 3rd and 1. They stop it. 4th and inches, they stop it, and then we get the ball back. And so, just I think I don't want to speak for Zach or Josh, but when you have that valid confidence from kind of the main guy in the room, that goes a long way. And I think you'll be able to see that. And so I just had to get on my DJ soapbox real quick.
Appreciate
That's
it,
my
brother,
guy.
man. Appreciate it.
Because
My God, man.
Yeah, let me tell you, there's not enough love that goes on for the interior D-line and interior O-line, but there's some battles.
There's some battles in there. Those trenches are
I know
real.
Ted Karras would say, man, DJ Reader is a dog.
Dude, there's some battles that go on in there, and it's tough work, but it's fun, man. And like you said, I'm so happy for those young guys I got behind me. Like we had that battle of like playtime throughout the beginning of the year, and like I always told Coach Harper's our D-line coach, and I would tell him like, look, we gotta get those young guys in, dude. Like they gotta get warm. They gotta get warm to play. I was just telling Jake that like if they don't have plays, then like they're not warm.
Yeah,
and
right.
Those type of things pay dividend throughout the year, and I got complete trust in them. Yeah, they may mess up, but like let them mess up on their own time and grow up and like learn from these mistakes.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about having that runway, like where if I only went and played one game, I would have played against the Steelers, and like I didn't play very well that game, but I had the runway because it wasn't like Joe was only out for one game.
Yeah.
So having that runway to kind of like, okay, see yourself on tape making some mistakes and get the chance to circle back and address those mistakes and then get another shot at it. And so one of the hardest things to do in the NFL and just football or any sports in general is come off the bench cold, not have that runway and play well.
Yeah,
like that is so
That's tough.
hard. And you just don't have a feel for the game really. And like I hadn't played live football since training camp. And like, that's a different,
Right.
There's 3 speeds in the NFL. It's preseason, regular season, and playoffs.
Yeah.
And so I'd only really done the preseason speed. And so I, like he said, I'm excited for some of those young guys to get a shot. And, it's always kind of one of those weirder things because, they're getting a shot because DJ can't be out there.
Right.
And everybody knows there's the business side, but like there's just on the human level and like the type of culture we got with the Bengals, you're excited. If you're DJ or like Joe, I've always felt throughout this whole thing has been very excited for me.
Yeah.
And so it's a unique work environment because it's a 0-sum game a little bit, but like you're still happy for a guy to get the chance because you see how hard people work.
Yeah,
Right.
And to
100%.
get an opportunity. So.
Yeah. And that was a cool way to explain the runway because, like, most people don't get it. That's how a starter becomes a starter. Like, in any position, you get the runway. You get a couple plays to go out there and mess up. You start doing better and better and better, and you have more good plays than you have bad plays.
Yeah.
Fans, people up top, even teammates sometimes are so unrealistic about the expectations of the one shot. Like, oh, he went out there one play and messed up. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he did. Like,
Right.
those type of things happen all the time. So it's kind of like he said, it's cool to see him get this opportunity, one, because I've been seeing him work his ass off. And I'm so confident in these young guys that are now getting opportunities because I know they've been working hard in silence and they've been in these moments and they'll be ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And to that point, Jake, like you have made the most of your opportunity. I mean, you've been balling the last few weeks, but the first couple years of your career, I mean, you're an undrafted guy. And this is coming off of an incredible college career, breaking records at University of Washington, a great high school career, breaking records at Folsom High School in Sacktown. But then, bouncing around practice squads, the waiver wire, being a backup quarterback for your first couple of years. You had kind of, felt the top and a lot of success, and then maybe it hit the figurative bottom of the first couple of years, but you kept going. And now you've gotten your opportunity and you're making the most of it. And I'm curious, with those couple of years when you did hit that adversity, what kept you going? What kept you being like, yeah, I'm going to keep pushing, I'm going to keep doing the things that need to be done behind the scenes, et cetera?
Yeah, I think there's anytime you have some adversity, and especially for the amount of time I spent on practice squads, like there's a lot that goes into it. So there's a lot of different moments that come to mind. First one is I remember one of the first things Kirk Cousins said to me as a rookie is like, hey, you got to have a 10-year time horizon, which is completely different than like most people would think. Like you think NFL career, if you play 3 years in the NFL, like you're in the top % of NFL players.
Yeah.
And so it was a unique perspective. And I think he really said that because of the position. Like if you're playing your best ball as a quarterback at 23 versus 27, like there's so much that happens and so many reps you can see just in practice. And on that note, like I part of the reason I stuck with it so much and really had a lot of confidence in myself is that I did have a lot of success in practices. It just wasn't a super public thing.
Yeah.
Like I was playing really well,
the team side.
you know.
Yeah,
And
right.
so, and in Minnesota, I had a lot of positive people. Like Gary Kubiak was there my first 2 years, and Hall of Fame coach in my opinion. He would always give me a little like, "Hey man, you can do this. Like you're good enough."
Yeah.
And so you had that, and then I think at the last big part of going through all that was, I know my dad has always kind of mentioned this, like, you know, certain players that maybe something happens or whatever, but he said, when you get to my age, he's 54. It's like when you get to my age, you know, different things happen throughout your life, right? Like people are going to hit adversity and some people are going to have, you know, things fall their way. But at the end of the day, like you could have this whole narrative to everybody else, but when you like wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, you're going to know like, all right, like I worked as hard as I could, and maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't, but I did everything I possibly could to maximize and fulfill my potential. Like we all have different potential. My potential as a D lineman, dog shit. Genetically, it wasn't in the cards. But if for some reason I grew up playing D line and I worked as hard as I could playing D line, and I probably would have flamed out probably like high school. I would have been a shifty high school interior D lineman, and that would have been it.
A lot of games.
You know, I would have woke up with kids and a career at 55 or whatever age and be like, yeah, I put it on the line. Like at least I worked my ass off, you know? Luckily I didn't pick interior D line or O line and picked quarterback. And so I just, every single off season and every week during the season, every chance I had, I was trying to make the most of practice reps and checking different boxes of making sure I'm getting better while also providing some value to the team. Whether that's helping defense, scout team looks, whatever it is, just trying to get the most out of it. And I think the main goal of that was just peace of mind. Like I didn't want to have regrets of, you know, guys can say, oh, I got screwed. And like my second year, we had COVID. There's no preseason. Like that is objectively a hard thing to process through when you go through your whole rookie year of like, I'm just grinding my ass off for that second year preseason. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, no, it doesn't exist. And so it's just really wanting to have that peace of mind of like, I put everything I have into this. And if it does work out, doesn't work out, I got that peace of mind and that ability to look myself in the mirror and be like, I put it on the line.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. I like that. I know that you, in your interview after the game yesterday, you said something that I thought was really profound. They were asking because it started to get a little loud in the stadium, Paycor Stadium. It started to get a little rowdy in there. And one of the reporters asked you, like, you know, how that influences or affects your game. And you were like, the louder that it gets in the stadium, the quieter that it gets in my head. And they just let that slide. But I was like, damn, bro.
That's a hell of a quote.
And I shared with DJ this last night. We were talking about, you know, this interview and this conversation. He was like, yeah, there's Jake has something stoic about him. And I think that's a good word for it.
I'm a big fan of stoicism.
Yeah.
I was just telling him, I was like, there's certain people who like kind of have that look and like, you know, like Joe, like y'all have that. What I even said it the other day about Joe Flacco. Like you just have that like that look about you that you're not gonna be bothered whether it goes this way or that way, and you can be internally bothered. But it's just the emotions of the position. I think we talked about this earlier on our show when we talked in the BGD segment when we talked about your boy at USC. I was just like, there's nothing wrong with being emotional. You just can't do that.
Right.
Like, you can't go up in the stands and do that. Like you just got to ride the wave, but whatever it is, because you are looked at this position. And I don't think that is just a front. The more and more you do it, it carries over into mentality.
It becomes you.
It becomes you, and therefore you aren't wavered by these little things that go this way or that way. And there's one of my favorite movies, The Rookie. baseball movie, but he just like locks in. Like he locks in and just clears the mechanism. You know what I'm saying? Like he locks in as loud as it is, no matter what time. You've been through this routine so many times over and over and over.
Yeah.
That now when it is loud, when it is tough, my body and my mindset's set up for me to go succeed right now.
Right.
And to go kill and do what I need to do.
Right. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Have you read some of the Stoicism stuff? Mm-hmm. Are you into that?
Yeah, Epictetus.
Okay.
Meditations, Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
I was big on those in really like 2 years ago when I first got here. That was by far like, if you want to talk about like a rock bottom, that was probably it. I had a really good training camp and practice. We had all the COVID rules, so I was only quarterback for like 5 days, took every single rep at practice and played really well. And then got into preseason games and just hadn't played real football, been live for a while, and just really played like shit at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And then the way it all went down there, they drafted a guy, wanted to go a different route, got cut in kind of a weird way, and then told like, oh, we didn't think you wanted to come back, so we'll see if we have a spot for you on practice squad. Go wait at the hotel. Spent like 4 or 5 hours just sitting at the hotel, like asking my agent like, what's going on here, and then the GM texted my agent like, hey, we're going a different direction.
Damn. So
just the roller coaster of that. Like I remember thinking I had this opportunity, I didn't play well enough. Like there's it wasn't lack of effort, but at some point it is. You're tearing up in the car like, man, this is over.
Right.
Because I wasn't getting any other calls for really any Peace Squad spots or anything. And so then fast forward a couple days, I get a tryout here. I move here. I don't know anybody on the team really. I know a couple guys, but everybody's in season. I'm living here by myself. I got rented furniture in an apartment. I'm on a month-to-month lease.
Hell yeah.
Wondering if the first game we played was against the Vikings. So I'm like, is this one of those things where I'm here for like a week
right.
to try and win this game, or am I out?
Yeah. They were trying to pick your brain.
Yeah.
I forget those happen. Oh,
yeah.
This league shiesty sometimes.
Yeah.
Boy.
And so I remember, and my girlfriend was working full-time back in Idaho where we were living at the time. And so she couldn't come out of town. I was just here isolated. I felt by myself.
Yeah.
And so, leaned on guys in the locker room, tried to get around the defense as much as possible. Mm-hmm. Always enjoyed those times. But the Stoicism stuff kind of came into my life at the right time. And I just remember kind of one of the main things about it is no matter what happens to me, like no one will take my mental. Mm-hmm. Like no one will take my choice, my freedom of choice.
Yeah, right.
And I just remember reading some of those things, like it hit home, and I think it hit at the right time for where I was at. And you got to have a certain level of maturity and have gone through some certain things to read that and really resonate with it. So, yeah, it's been good. Daily Stoic, discourses, meditations. Mm-hmm. Those have kind of been the main three. But always a work in progress. Nobody's perfect, but I kind of like just having those little reminders.
Yeah.
Every day.
Have you read Ego is the Enemy?
I have.
It's a good one.
Yep. Some of the Ryan Holiday books. Holiday? I can't remember. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's got some good ones.
I gotta check that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Okay. Especially going through an injury and some adversity. It's like, every day you wake up, you got a choice. And, like I said, that's the timing of my life where I kind of found that it hit home.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading Meditations earlier this year. And it just it's good. It's really good. And really crazy that the most powerful dude in the whole world was spending some time writing in a diary. And at the time where he was, the emperor of Rome or whatever his position was, and he was talking about
and going
how
to
live
real
your life.
War.
Real
war.
There's not a lot of intelligence going back and forth.
Yeah.
There's no communication.
You're going blind.
We're pulling up. Hey, this is war. Yo. Wow.
Yeah.
Swords coming out.
What's crazy is how dense that is. You can't really just sit there and just, read 20 pages of it at once. You kind of got to break it up. It's all right, I'm going to read a page a day.
Yeah.
Because I think if you read too much of it at once, you kind of
blurs.
Yeah, it kind of blurs, and there's a lot to digest. The guy was very insightful and pretty reflective for somebody with that much power at that time.
For sure. for sure. It then became like it became a toilet book. So like when I'm sitting on the shitter in the morning, I read like, a couple pages and like, all right, I like this line. Let me think about this line for this day, kind of set my intention for the day.
Oh, that's good.
You should get the Daily Stoic. They just
I got the Daily Stoic.
You got the Daily Stoic. That's a good one.
I like how it breaks up. Like you said, you can just sit there and you can read, all right, this one for the day. This is a good little outline. I like that.
Well, I think that's a good segue into, because what I wanted to talk about was the role of the quarterback at large. We kind of talk about stoicism, the ability to have emotions, but maybe appear emotionless at times to lead your team, et cetera. And you've played behind two great quarterbacks, been around great quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, Joe Burrow. I mean, we were around Deshaun at a time. And I'm curious, you guys' kind of perspective on the patterns of great quarterbacks. And then when you think about like the ideal prototype quarterback, what is their role on the team? Like outside of winning games, like who is that? What is that ideal profile of a quarterback?
I mean, there's a lot of people that get paid a lot of money to figure out what the answer to that question is, and they still miss.
That's a fact.
It's really hard to evaluate quarterbacks. I think most of my opinions come from my own experiences, but then also I learned a lot, like you said, learning from Kirk and Joe. And I think really the first thing is like they got to be authentic. Like you got to be comfortable in your own skin, and it's a unique position because we're doing a lot mentally, but like physically, I'm not in as much pain as everybody else. Like it's not as physical of a position.
Yeah.
And so I think everybody can spot a fraud. Like if you're trying to be something you're not, you will not last. Like locker rooms are ruthless. And so if all of a sudden I showed up trying to be something I'm not, I think people can see through that. And they can't figure out why they don't like you. Yeah. But like they're just kind of like, just like
something's wrong.
Or like everything sounds scripted. Yeah. And so like I do a quarterback camp last off season was my first one, but I'm going to do it every year. And that was kind of my thing. Like camps and all that, Elite 11 is great, and they're teaching great character stuff, but like I don't need to talk to 10 different quarterbacks and feel like I'm talking to the same person. Like don't be the guy or something's happening with the team and you're saying something that just feels scripted. Like, be yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's like whatever that is, like Kirk and Joe could not be more different personalities.
Right.
But they both very comfortable in their own skin, and they're not going to, and everything comes across very authentic.
Yeah.
And I think that goes a long ways. Like Kirk, very religious, kind of has like a dorky personality in a likable way.
Yeah.
And he's totally comfortable with that. Like if you watch the quarterback show, that is him to a T. Yeah. Like he is, and he was awesome to be around, but we have very different personalities. And then Joe, like I've seen before where there's a bunch of conversation going on, and like, Joe's kind of a quiet guy. Like he's got opinions and all that, but like he's going to be pretty quiet, and he feels no pressure to step outside of himself. Like, and I think that is something I learned a lot from too, just as far as like the ebbs and flows of a game, just completely detaching and not feeling like you got to be the emotional leader. I think sometimes in college, I felt like when we weren't playing well and I'm the quarterback and I've been there forever and everybody else, is maybe not as experienced, like all of a sudden I'm the one like trying to get the team pumped up at halftime when we had a bad first half.
Right.
And I just never played well when I did that. So now it's kind of like, I'm going to let, like on offense for us, it's Ted Karras, Joe Mixon, Jamar, some of these different guys. I'm going to let them be the emotional leaders, and I'm just going to detach. Yeah. And let them be good at that, because it comes across authentic. Like when Joe Mixon gets in front of the team, in front of the offense, and like says something, it comes across authentic. And then so I think just the emotional part, personality part, you definitely have to have those. And then skill set wise, like I think you can develop a quarterback much more than is given credit to. Like if you couldn't develop a quarterback, like I had a great high school career, college career, but at the end of the day, like my skill set coming out was not good enough. Like it needed to be better. And so I worked for a lot of years to do that. And if in some way there's the narrative of like I was overlooked or whatever, but I think this opportunity is coming at a time where I've spent 4 years investing in myself and getting a lot better. I'm kind of fortunate that it didn't come in year 1 or year 2.
Yeah.
Just because I'm putting out better tape.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to rewrite the tape. Like if you
that's
put out
a
bad
fact.
tape
That's a fact.
early,
That shit don't lie.
they do not, like you do not get handed things you do not deserve in the NFL, and they will cut your ass so quickly.
No doubt. No doubt.
So it's a really hard position. Shit, DJ might be a better evaluator, but
Oh, I don't know. My thing is, like you said, just being authentic. Like, I played with Taj Boyd in college, who was great in college. I played with Deshaun in college. Then played with Deshaun in the league. Got here, played with Joe, played with you. And I played with some other quarterbacks along the way. And the one thing I can say about all the guys who usually stick and are good, like you said, they're authentic. Like, most guys, they've been playing quarterback for a long time, so they got kind of the skill set to throw the ball a little bit in this and the third. I can't do the developing part for you. I don't know much about that. Like I know when you're fucking up, but I can't tell you how to get better at it. Honestly, I just know what I see, and if you can't do, I couldn't help you on that end. But the locker room part is like guys respond to people who are authentic. Everybody doesn't need your quarterback to be rah.
Don't gotta be the hype
you don't got to be the hype man. Like you don't got to be the guy bringing everybody together at all times. And those moments come. I think that people who are authentic, you had those moments because you've sat back, you've listened to enough to people who you respect as leaders or things that you've seen go on to the point that now you're comfortable and you do step into those roles. But being pushed into them and feeling like you got to do them, I think that comes off as you just doing shit for the camera. And so, like, I think the guys who are successful, the guys who come in and they're comfortable with who they are, and that gets them out of the way of learning everything else. Like, I feel like once you're comfortable with you, I can now go on to develop and play my best ball because I'm not worried about what they have to say about my personality. I'm not worried about winning them over. I'm not being a dickhead. I'm just being me. And I'm being respectful. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, you don't got to be just one of the guys all the time, but like, be a locker room guy. That's what everybody's looking for. And we're not actually going to be the most popular. Like, just be a part of the glue that everybody else is that's making this shit stick.
Yeah.
Let's be good. And then you can develop on your own what you need to develop. And that's what I see a lot of times, I feel like, in quarterbacks. Because especially guys who are like drafted high and things like that, they get so much pushed on them that they feel like they got to be this or that. Yeah. And that goes for a lot of positions, but that position mainly.
Right.
That it's almost unfair to them because then they don't understand it like, yo, there's guys who've been in this league 10, 12, 13. They don't need you in there trying to tell them what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Like, shut up, relax. Let's work on this together. Everybody, let's work together. We don't need you giving speeches. Nobody wants to hear what your ass has to say right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think that
having a little bit of scrap too. Like,
yeah,
if you got to have a little bit of an edge. Like,
you got some dog.
Yeah, and like if you don't have that and you've made it this far, then you're probably talented as hell.
Yeah.
And so, I think
definitely
you gotta
have
something.
You gotta have an edge,
Yeah,
and that's the part we like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you rah giving a speech.
Show me.
I want you to go out there when you pick it, whatever it is that you did. You dropped a dime in there. You went and picked up that first down. Maybe got rocked, got back up. Give me a little juice then. Give me let the team know like. Or you come to the sideline after a big play. All right, defense, get the ball. Like those are the moments. Those are the edge that we're looking for. Mm-hmm. And like, don't fold when you do something bad. Like as a defender, that's the worst thing I could say when I look at a quarterback on the other side. Like, you throw a pick, you do something, you fucking hang your head, you're on the sideline bitching. Like look, bro, it happens. Like, you're back there dropping back 40 times a game. Probability of you throwing a couple in a season, like, it's probably on that side. Like, that's gonna happen. Like, it is what it is. Like, and so I don't like when quarterbacks. I look at it as like a pitcher. You got to throw the next pitch. Mm-hmm. So if a guy hit a home run off of you and you fucking hang your head, like you're just like it sucks.
Can't lose your fastball though.
Yeah, but you can't go out there.
Lose your fastball.
You can't go around pitching around.
I'm telling you, man,
can't
it'll
eat
you alive.
It'll kill you. It'll kill your career. Like it'll ruin you forever. Like there's no need.
Yeah. No,
I think the last thing I'll say on the development side, like having gone through that, you kind of see guys that maybe hit some adversity and they need to get better. And there's the fine line of like, you don't want to lose your confidence, but you don't want to be the guy that's just thinking he's getting screwed. Like those guys that say like, oh, the coach just doesn't like me. Like they never lose their confidence because they just kind of blame, but they also never get better. And so you want to have, but then there's the guys that know they need to get better, work super hard at trying to get better, but they don't have that confidence. Like it's almost like they're trying to compensate for the lack of confidence with work ethic.
Right.
And then you just also don't want to be the guy that's just bitter to be around.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to be the guy that's just happy to be here because like there's three little pockets you got to avoid. You got to navigate. Like you want to have the work ethic, you want to have the confidence, and you want to have like the positive attitude. And that's kind of hard to like do the trifecta of that and navigate that emotionally.
Yeah. Finding that balance.
Yeah.
I think it's so important also to have an environment in which it's okay to be yourself, your authentic self, especially as a quarterback. When I was in Miami, I saw the change that Tua made from, having the Flores regime to then having McDaniel come in, and to just totally different approaches to catering or fostering an environment that allowed Tua to be as comfortable as he possibly could be in being him.
Yeah.
And like McDaniel was like very intentional, like, bro, like have fun. Have some swagger. I know you got some swagger. Have some swagger. And you see how Tua, just if you watch his post game or any of his interviews from over the past like 3 seasons, you'll see this trajectory of just like him being more and more comfortable and being himself and being less feeling like he has to imitate or replicate Tom Brady, which is I feel like what kind of that regime was pushing him towards, which that's just not him.
Yeah, I think that's why you see so many offensive coaches getting head coaching jobs, because you see like what's the number one highest paid, most important position? Quarterback.
Yeah.
And so if you develop the quarterback, then you're going to have a better team, especially if you can draft one early, a guy on a rookie contract, and get the most out of him.
Yeah.
You're going to have a good team. And so you just see on the offensive side, head coaching wise, a lot of offensive guys are getting opportunities because of that, because of the ability to develop quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And then offensive staffs, like our head coach, offense coordinator, and quarterback coach all played quarterback at some level. And so just having that insight and having played the position in some capacity, I think really helps you in coaching. And that's because your ability to develop and create an environment that makes it easier on the quarterback.
Hell yeah.
I will say this is the least like toxic work environment I've ever been in.
That's nice, man.
By far.
That's
like,
nice.
By far. And I think it's honestly, like you said, just because of the nature of and I don't know if it's maybe just younger coaches, different,
different styles.
I've never thought about it the way Jake just said it. I do think about it in that instance. I know it's harder for defensive coaches to coach the offense.
Yeah.
Just because of, our mentality, the way we look at certain things. And like, the way we call it just as like defensive players certain times. Like some quarterbacks can handle that for sure.
Right.
Every quarterback can, and you'll lose a player. Like so, I think it's good for the league, but also I think there's a weird balance.
There's still defensive coaches that can do it. You just got to be able to have that range. Like you can't just be like
you can't.
The hard
it's
ass.
Different.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to have that range to be able to handle like a wide variety. I think.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a friend of mine. His name's Desarte. He's also on my financial team, and we were talking about the podcast and how it's been developing. We're in season 2. We've seen, a lot of growth in season 2. And we had one of our biggest episode a few weeks back with Christian McCaffrey, and Desarte was asking me about it, and we were talking like, the budget and expenses and this and that. And he congratulates me, like, bro, great job on the McCaffrey interview, which is like, I didn't really have to do shit. I mean, McCaffrey is an incredible speaker. Like, I kind of just asked the question, he took it away, but it was a moment for us. And Desarte asked me, it was like, how are you pinning the moment? I was like, what do you mean? And we're talking, what do you mean? It's like, well, this moment that could potentially be like an inflection point of your podcast or this thing that you're building, how are you pinning that? I was like, damn. I totally understood his question, and I thought to myself, paused, and I was like, I'm like, really kind of just thinking about like how to use the momentum to like keep it going. I'm thinking about the next thing. Like, have I taken a moment to really like think about this moment that I'm in now and taking that time? Like, I don't know that I have.
Yeah.
And, you know, his suggestion was like, I would recommend or suggest, not telling me what to do, but just like, you know, whether that's you getting in your notebook or a voice memo or something to like almost commemorate this moment, because, you know, things maybe will change from here, you know, and hopefully for the better. And you can always refer back to this moment. And then when I responded to him, it was like, it sounded a lot like how I would basically reflect on my playing career.
Yeah.
You have a good game, it's like turn the page, next game. You know what I mean? You make the team, but it's like now I'm trying to be a starter, you know? And it's like this kind of perpetual cycle, which I think is necessary to reach greatness. It's necessary to be the best that you can possibly be. But I also now, reflecting back and like having more time to think about it, pinning moments is important.
Yeah.
You know, and meditations, Marcus Aurelius was the best at it, right?
Yeah.
Pinning the moments. And I mean, both of you you have your own moments individually right now. And I'd be curious if that's something that you guys have thought about, or that's something that you practice, Jake, regular, or DJ, how you do that, or if that makes sense to you.
I know for me, I was actually talking about it with Caroline. I didn't I didn't document any of like the Super Bowl run, or like you said, all this stuff, or even this first knee. Like, so this moment, I guess, is kind of one of those moments where I'll be able to document how this happened, the recovery from this and the third. And, you know, I've had plenty of moments in my career that I could have like chosen those moments, and like it was very pivotal, and like did that. But I didn't think about it until you just said it. And I always you kind of always had that thought.
Yeah.
But I've never actually like been like, yo, I'm gonna truly like, this is one of those moments for me, and like it propels, like things are gonna be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be able to refer back.
Yeah, I think maybe when I had my son, like having Rocky probably was like one of the biggest ones for me, just because my thought process and how intentional I was with life after that, it's pushed me in my career and my life just, you know, in a great trajectory that I couldn't even have thought of. Just like those moments when I found out I was going to have him be a dad. All those steps that I took and how serious I was about everything I had going on, it's really changed my life for the better a lot.
Yeah.
I would say for me, it's like I'm not like a daily journal. It's funny we're talking about this. I was at dinner last night. I got some friends in town. My girlfriend has a couple friends in town too, so we're all at dinner and just kind of talking about it. And somehow journaling came up. And for me, I've never been, like I said, a daily journal person. But whenever something was like any type of adversities hit, like I want to be intentional with what the narrative is in my head. Like you're gonna have a narrative in your head when something happens, regardless. And so sitting down for like 15, 20 minutes and typing out like just in a Word doc for myself, like just to kind of organize my thoughts and like create like a jump off point. Like, all right, like whatever happened, like here's the base, here's how I'm going to process it. And like, here's the jump off point. And so I would say like, that's how I use journaling a little bit. Like I shared on one of my social media, like Instagram, whenever I made the team this year, when I got cut in Minnesota and I was flying home to Seattle to go basically like train and stay with my girlfriend's family for a little bit and figure out like, all right, what the hell am I going to do now? You know, I just kind of typed through like, here's my thoughts and helped me kind of process that. And I think was a big reason I was able to respond the way I did is just reflecting on what went wrong, but like what I'm still proud of. Like I was proud of how hard I worked at Minnesota.
Yeah.
But I think the big controlling the narrative in your head is so hard to do. And there's always going to be a narrative. And sometimes it's just, you know, you kind of roll with whatever you're thinking about when you're in bed, like trying to go to sleep. It's like your brain's working, so you might as well like kind of control where it's going a little bit. And so I think that's been something that has really benefited me.
Yeah.
And but I could probably, you know, we're all in sports, so it's like you have a good game against, you know, whoever. Like there's one coming, and there's a brand new test the next week.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get you just take the positives in stride and really focus on the negatives. And so I think for me, like in season, you have to be like that. Like I can't be sitting here thinking about the Vikings when we got Pittsburgh coming. It's like boom, boom, boom. But I will take some time at some point in the off season, go on a vacation with my girl and sit there with my iPad or my Mac that I got like my sophomore year of college and still riding strong with. And I'll type something out and try and be insightful like to how much this meant and like what the jump off point is. But that is kind of like the growth mindset in all of us where athletes, you're always like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing?
Keep building.
Thing? So
keep building.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to hear you say that.
No, that's dope, man. That's dope.
Player performance is gonna look nice, bro. You might can get a new.
Oh, let's go! Hey, come on now.
I'm just saying, big dog. Player performance is gonna be
Pouring spirit.
popping.
Pouring spirit.
That new
Pouring
Mac,
spirit, baby.
that new Mac might be coming. Maybe Apple see this, send you one.
Yeah.
DJ will teach you what to do with your money, man. He's had some good practice.
I saw DJ walking into one of the pregames. He was dressed full cowboy head to toe.
Come on now.
Damn, I'm frugal out here though, man. B Scar tell you.
DJ's
been hanging out in Houston for a while.
He's good at being rich, man. I'm learning.
I'm learning. Rich in life and spirit, man.
I mean, I'm just looking at this. We were talking about the coffee table books. I mean, this is one of the better coffee table spreads.
Yeah, these are inspirations, bro. You got to have like people who've done it better than you to be out there for inspiration.
That's real. That's real.
This is the all-time spread, though.
You know what I'm saying? We're doing all right.
Fellas, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
This is a great conversation.
Yeah.
Jake,
anytime DJ reaches out, you can't say no.
Yeah, man.
DJ Reader.
Guys, yeah, we were close.
The Jake Show. The Jake Show. Indeed, Grave Dave. There you have it, folks. Another episode of B-Scar TV, where we are serving up inspiration for lifestyle innovation through high-quality conversation.
Ooh.
And that's my first time dropping that right there. That was smooth.
That was great. That was smooth right there.
He's been sitting on that one.
Speaking of a notebook, I wrote that on the flight over. I said,
I
like
like
that.
one, bro.
Y'all tune in for the next one. Please give us some feedback. This pursuit of high-quality content is a never-ending pursuit. Smash the subscribe button. Some constructive criticism, and we'll keep this thing rolling. Till next time, y'all. Peace.
This episode of B-Scar TV has been brought to you by Scarlett Creative. For the full-length video episode and more content, find us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at B-Scar TV. And please, leave us a review. Drop a comment. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? Who do you want to hear from? We would love to hear from you. This is your host, with the most, Brennan Scarlett, signing off. Peace.